And
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Hristo asked me actually, because there were a lot of presentations, many of you are probably a bit tired, so let's do a little bit more interactive session, where I'm going to ask him a couple of questions, and then the audience can ask some questions, yeah?
Perfect.
Good stuff.
I know it's Friday afternoon, but I think we can move a bit more, you know.
Yeah.
And hopefully more people come, because I'm really looking forward to a very interesting talk, giving you some insight about entrepreneurship and the toughest place in the world, probably. Yeah. And then I'll be open for questions.
Cool.
So thanks for the nice intro. Yes?
Shall we sit? Good stuff.
So thanks for the great intro.
Yeah, no problem.
What can I say?
So here the situation is many people on the previous panel, many of the speakers on the previous panel said one thing which is we don't have, it's think big. And the Rocket Internet, we know that these guys don't joke around. They do stuff very quickly. And they definitely think big. I mean, they're not looking at anything which is below $1 billion, and it's fast $1 billion. So let's...
Yes, we are.
Let's talk a bit about that.
Rocket is a very, very pragmatic organization. We're really focusing on getting things done. And it's an organization where you have a lot of young people, and they're given a lot of responsibility. And most of the cases, they deliver great. Now, I would like to talk about three things. The first one is thinking big. And to be more precise, opportunities. You know, what is an opportunity? And how to identify it as an entrepreneur. And what I'll be talking about is not the whole Rocket Empire, but I'll be talking about Africa. It's probably the toughest challenge nowadays to do online business. Now, why Africa in the first place, right? We are all around the world, Southeast Asia, Latin America, Europe, but Middle East, but why also Africa? I'll give you just one number. From 2010 to 2017, estimated 33% compound annual growth rate on sales B2C. And this is like unmatched anywhere else. Yes, you start low, but unmatched. You know, like you go to Southeast Asia where you have huge growth, and it's just half of that. And thinking now about this opportunity, it will pay off in like 15 years, but that's like thinking big. And we've built a lot of businesses there. Jumia, e-commerce leader in Africa, more than 6 or 7 countries already. Rapidly got traction in about 2 years, became the undisputed leader, and there were also other players. Jumia, an auctions website. So practically many examples of like going in that very challenging environment, but also achieving a lot. And I would like all of us now to jump on the plane and let's go to Nigeria. You know, that's the showcase for today. You know, why would you go to Nigeria? You know, have every one of you been in Nigeria? Like one? I see more.
So we have 2 hands. Very good.
2 hands. Yeah. Out of how many?
Welcome
150
back.
people. Okay, hopefully more. So what do we have there? We have 160 million people. We have a middle class growing very, very rapidly with very substantial disposable income. And by income, I mean like substantial, also for European standards. We have a lot of young people, and we have a growing number of internet users. And like, you can take this from the books, but how many people are actually applying it? And that's the question you as entrepreneurs should be asking yourself. Are you thinking big enough? You know, because 160 million is basically half Europe, and that's one country out of how many in Africa? 50. So think about that.
And actually, that's very interesting because you're saying that basically some of our brothers in the Rocket Internet are attacking markets which are with huge potential, but those markets maybe will take many more years to develop their ecosystems. And so what are the challenges? Because I can imagine that it's quite difficult to develop. You've done like Amazon of Asia and a lot of things in Brazil, and these ecosystems were in a lower sort of development level. So what are the challenges that you're facing? That's super interesting.
Yeah, very good question. The challenges are basically unmatched anywhere. When you look at Africa, there is a reason why it's called the third world, right? And it's evolving very fast, but still, what are you facing? Again, let's showcase Nigeria. And this is a very rich country, so basically, it has a lot of potential, and it has a lot of resources, and there is a lot of money in the country. And still, what are you facing? Like, some of the challenges are infrastructure. So, yes, you have a main road in Lagos and few main roads, but once you want to turn left or right, there is no road. Now, what else? Internet. Internet is like 4 or 5 times more expensive than in the UK. In a country where out of this 160 million, 62 or 3% of the population lives with less than $1 a day. So, and you want to do business in that country, right? Online business, by the way. Then, what else is a challenge? I mean, like, there are power outages every day for a few hours, and it's an online business, so you can't put your infrastructure in that country. You can't. You're supposed to use a lot of state-of-the-art IT systems for logistics and everything, and they go down all the time. So how do you go on? Yeah, you keep going. That's how you do it. And another thing is like talent. It's a country that's just opening for online, so you can't really find the people to hire to work for you and do like online marketing or SEO or like, what is that, right? They're not there, so you have to put them on the plane from Europe, bring them there for a while until the people learn and they can do the job themselves. And then there is like one last thing I would like to mention, and it is trust. So Nigerian people are just opening to online business, and they don't really trust, like booking and websites. And I believe maybe 2 of you were in Nigeria, but at least 50 of you have got some scam from Nigeria on your email. And yes, they're right. Like how do I put my credit card there if I don't trust, the payment methods and so on. So it's a substantial amount of our payments are collected on delivery. So we have a huge cash flow problem because the money is coming later. You don't just put your credit card, you get your money in the bank. It's like money comes at some other point in time, and these businesses are very resource intensive. A lot of money needed in order to keep up the operations running.
So, I mean, more or less, you can sort of say that similar situation is with all the other regions that you're attacking, like Southeast Asia, Brazil. I think you guys also attacking India now, trying to do stuff in that area.
Yeah, just go on the website. It's like map it.
So, how do you think that whole flow of talent that you bring, like you said, people from Europe, people with huge experience already, what are your solutions basically? Because you are like sort of providing so much knowledge, so much know-how in existing infrastructure, and the way you do the business, and actually build a business which is globally competitive in a region that's very tough to build them themselves. So how do you do it? What are your ways?
Our way is a lot of working hours, but aside from that, in order to operate in this very challenging environment, you have to build your own ecosystem around the business that you want to start. So we obviously see a big opportunity there. We went there and we're doing business. But in order for this business to operate, let's deep dive into e-commerce. How does it work? Yes, you can buy online, but before that, you have to get these goods from somewhere, right? So the guys and the suppliers, they didn't really use marketplaces or like software to put their inventory online. So you have to educate the suppliers. A lot of work. So basically, these are people that you have to hire to go and educate the suppliers. What happens next? Okay, we have the platform. It's not hosted in Africa. It's somewhere else. And then they buy, and then you have to store this goods somewhere, right? In the process of buying. So what happens? No really decent warehouses to put your goods, so you can't rent them. You have to build them. So the first warehouse was like 1/3 of that room, with boxes everywhere. And then 2 years later, it's 120,000 square feet, and it's half automated. It uses state-of-the-art order management system to identify and then collect the items. Calculates routes, the shortest routes to collect them, and then being packaged. And then comes what? Then comes delivery. How do you deliver if there are no logistic companies there, or no reliable logistic companies? Like first, like first deliveries were like with guards. Like so no one attacks the machine and takes the packages away. So we built our own logistics company around that. So 120 vehicles, like moving around the city and the country in order to deliver our goods. And that's not all. Like on top of that, you have these trucks, but there are no roads. How do you go there? Like so some of the orders they identified as like 5 houses from the main road, like the yellow one, and that's where we use mopeds. So basically a moped with a big plasma TV behind, and like the driver like just tries to balance it so that he gets to the point, and it works. And it works. 2 years later, huge warehouse, logistic company working, biggest e-commerce company in Africa.
Wow. Okay. And also, one thing that I know that you do is like, obviously before the financial crisis, nobody looked at startups for employment, like top graduates. They were going to investment banking and consulting and the typical ones. And so, and you're a big employer for those people. And you teach them on real ways to operate a big e-commerce business or a big business. And on that front, like, what are the ways that basically you teach them a lot on metrics and data-driven decisions and basically scaling, building teams, which many of them, I don't want to say anything against those jobs, but many of them don't have as experience. And you've done it very well. So far, it's been proven that, like, if Rocket is behind you, that means that you have serious competition. And so, like, you're bringing a lot of startup culture on a non-startup culture people. So, and that's very important, I think. It's a good education. It's sort of an army, military sort of environment,
I
right?
can perfectly understand the question, and I can identify myself with that because at the end of the day, former engineer, then did my MBA, and I had this typical decision in front of me: go for consulting, go for banking, or do something else. And then I had all these offers, but like that was like joining Rocket was like the most appealing one. And in the last 3 years, I've met some amazing people. Some of them actually sitting here. Daniela, she was on stage just before, 2 appearances before us. Amazing people, very mostly young, ambitious, but also very, very smart. And you definitely have to have it in your DNA, or at least wish to join such an organization because it's very fast-paced. So in order to endure in that environment, you have to have the right motivation. But I keep saying that, like when I hire people, I always look for like 3 things. Give them a big vision, like you want to be number 1 in what you're doing, and then give them responsibility, so make them accountable for the work they're doing, and they should definitely wish to learn a lot. And all the people that are joining us are exactly this type of people. Yeah. So I think those are like the 3 factors to motivate people the right way.
Yeah, I recently spoke to a guy who was in Rocket, now he's in Uber, and I actually did a little bit of Rocket work. I was in Groupon back in 2010, and I know what is like fast execution, sometimes a lot of brainstorm. In the previous panel there was a lot, everything is possible, and I'm a big believer in everything is possible, but also, it's action plus vision. What was this quote? A vision without action is an action without a vision is a nightmare. A vision without an action is still a dream. So the action part is very important. So yeah, if you want, let's start interacting a little bit with the audience.
Yeah,
maybe we can hear a bit more questions from them, kind of get into the DNA of Rocket internet culture. So please go ahead with questions. It's kind of tough for me to see, but
I don't see a lot of questions. Huh?
Maybe we should say a little bit about who doesn't know what Rocket Internet is? So most.
Oh, that is good. Just 3 hands.
Yeah, that's good. And okay, for the 3 people that don't know, that's basically one of the infamous companies in Europe that copy successful models from the US and one from Europe, which was tough. and actually implements them. And implements them in our geographies, all the geographies that Hristo mentioned, like Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And they execute super fast. Like Groupon was with the Samlers. It started in the States, but the Samlers then merged, and it was the fastest from zero to IPO, even though the company had a bit of problems. That's a different story. But generally, it's like 2 years. What is it?
Yeah, you're not saving me anything, but okay. What can I say as
I thought I'm the introductory part. Sorry about that.
Everyone has a right of his own view, right?
Please elaborate.
But what I would say here is like, as a company, that Rocket evolved a lot, and the early days, it was different. I'm actually in the last years, I can see that we matured a lot. Our delivery is even more professional, and we are, easily achieving the results, and we're overachieving, and we actually beat the guys in their own field. And it's just because of greater product, better understanding of marketing, online marketing, and all the surroundings behind that. So in a way, if we take the example of Africa, you can see how we went into an environment that is so challenging that no one wanted to go into business there. We went there, we showed that it works, and now people want to go there. So in a way, we changed the world there. And we make it a better place to live. And we're giving the chance to people to have a normal life. I know it's an e-commerce website, but in a way, we enable them to buy proper shoes, to buy proper dresses, because before that, this is something you probably don't know, you don't really have shops in Nigeria or Lagos. You have 1 or 2 malls, but you don't have shops. It's economically not feasible to have a shop because, amazingly, the cost of renting the shop is very high. So it's not paying off with the margins you have to have a shop. So what happened was you had some kiosks where you can buy 1 or 2 pairs of shoes, and then we leapfrogged that, and now we put it online, and the demand is huge. So now people can choose between 40 and 50,000 shoes, and they can be delivered next day. Like you go to that kiosk, maybe they didn't have your size. So we really changed the world there.
Do we have some questions from the audience?
Hello, I work with Germany and I like very much the company Rocket Internet, but since 2 months they have a big problem with the the center in Erfurt. One journalist undercover was there. What could you say to this problem?
This is a very mature company and it has a management. I can really not comment on that. I was not even aware of that problem.
Yeah, me neither.
By the way, I'm responsible for the tech and product, which is based in Portugal. And there is something interesting that maybe you would like to know. We're also looking for potential in Bulgaria now, and it's quite logical, right? I'm myself Bulgarian, so if you're interested, you want to join that interesting organization, you're very welcome.
Shut for Panda. Get them away.
I didn't say shutting down the companies. I said like maybe we want to have something here. So
we have time for two more questions.
One here.
Cool.
What are the 2 or 3 things you would say enable you at Rocket Internet to beat the guys who actually come up with original models and allow you to implement them faster and better?
I think I touched on that, but basically we are super focused on what we do. It's no nonsense culture, so we just go for it. We are as dynamic as the internet. Many companies don't understand that. They just, they have a great vision, but then putting it in practice is a big problem. They lack the focus. They lack the push to get it done. And once you get this mindset, even if you're not working for Rocket, you can really get anything done. You just start believing that there's nothing you can do. And I think it's a very, very healthy attitude. I would stop at this point because I think that's like in the heart of Rocket's organization. It's just very plain, no big hierarchies. Everyone talks to everyone and just achieves what he's supposed to achieve. And goes for it.
And I think also it seems that these businesses that needs to kind of have a global brand, but have a local sort of expansion model. They always need a little bit of aggressive culture. Like Uber is such a case. Famously, Uber has a very aggressive culture.
They're very good.
Possibly other ones. So it's not Rocket is aggressive. It's just the type of model needs a lot of operational sort of speed.
Yeah,
and
I agree. In a way, I think it's a mix. Maybe also we had an impact on Uber in a way, and they had an impact on us. So everyone like so what works, like and how things should be done. Actually, that is one thing I wanted to give as some hints, like about my speech about thinking big. As like I believe personally that it takes the same effort to build a small business than to build a very big one. It's just a matter of how you set up your processes and how you think. I think that you should try to be the first mover in a market. It's very valuable, and you should of course pick big markets that are growing. That also helps. I just gave you an example with Africa and Nigeria in particular. I also, if you don't have more questions, I would like to say something.
So what did Africa teach you back?
I didn't hear the question, sorry.
Okay.
You went to Africa to teach Africa what Africa taught you back.
Yeah.
Was that the question?
Yes,
that's
I can answer that. It taught us that the people are amazing. They're extremely friendly, and I mean, like most of the things we know about Africa are wrong. So great people to work with. They learn fast. They're very curious, and it's great, and it will become a nicer place with time, and it's becoming one.
Thank you.
Hi. Obviously, you have great amounts of cash. You have very smart and skilled people like yourselves. You are focused, and you are learning from the best people there are. Probably, you have great leaders in your organization. So I was just wondering, what were the reasons for the cases where you failed? So what went wrong? Because you did your analysis. You have great people. You have all the money.
So
what went wrong?
It's a very good question. It's actually, you bring me now to the fourth point I wanted to mention as an advice. Yeah, I didn't. So one of the things that can break your leg is scale and internationalize quick but wisely. Sometimes it just runs out of control. I want to send some kudos to BlaBlaCar. I really liked their presentation in the morning. It just showed how to do it. So basically, 1 to 3 countries a year, really like going for it, knowing where they should go, and at the end of the day, you see where they are, successfully scaling all around the world. I mean, like Europe and Russia, but I think that's the right way to do it. And that's usually where things can go very wrong. Like you can become a market leader in one country, and then when you become really eager for success, and you want to roll it out everywhere, suddenly learn it's not the same in every country. Like Europe is very segmented, US is not so segmented, but then you go to Africa and it's really country by country. And then you go to Asia and it's again country by country. So it's like you really have to understand how to expand, and you really have to have people on the ground. So just looking at, like presentation, looking at Wikipedia, like what is like the compound annual growth rate for this and for that and the population and so on, making some assumptions, it doesn't work. You have to go there, talk to people, make the right hires in order for things to work.
So the reason was you didn't go there before you invested. So I was just wondering, what happened? Because I know the guys that you hired, they are much smarter than I am.
I don't believe that.
I met some. They're scary smart people you hired. I mean, for Turkey, you hired amazing people. So I'm just wondering. Obviously, you didn't read about Turkey in Wikipedia. You had people on the ground, or in Asia, in Southeast Asia. In the cases you failed, I'm just wondering because we are talking about there needs to be the team, there needs to be cash, there needs to be time.
I get your
I'm
point.
just wondering what went wrong.
I mean, like no one is perfect, like so in a way you learn. And when you go on the ground, suddenly you learn that what you wanted to do, it doesn't work. Yeah, so I think that summarizes that.
So things that you didn't foresee.
Yeah.
And is there...
We also have that.
This is my final thought, and we're finishing the part. Is there like the moment that... There are two things that I'm thinking. One is the innovator, the founder, who always has a culture, a brand that carries with them. And Samlers or the Rocket, they want things to be done quickly. And if they don't follow the right trajectory, they just don't consider them as a huge opportunity? Is that something that maybe?
I don't have that impression. I just, you know, like once
That's
you're part of that
that's my own
culture,
kind of-
everyone wants for things to happen fast. You know, like so it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
But I believe meaningfully fast. You know, thoughtfully fast.
So sometimes it was a premature scaling. Maybe.
Very much depends.
Yeah,
very
cool.
much depends.
Guys, please thank Hristo. I think this was a very insightful.
Yeah. Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot.
And I hope we see you more here, and you can tell us more about. And we can start working more together.
Yeah, I would like to say
all the companies at Rocket, please keep them away from Bulgaria. We have our own.
I don't believe this works. You know, like I would like to say one last thing. First, I am very proud of the event. As I already said, I'm Bulgarian myself, and I'm really glad of what you put together, guys. And I say it because I've been to other places, and very well organized, very nice speakers, and very nice vibe, which is amazing. You know, like not all events like that have a good vibe, and this one has it. So